Hey there, I'm the community manager for Pixlr, and I'm going to show you how to turn a photo into a stylized painting. Actually, I'm going to tell you while showing you someone who's really great at making this kind of iPhoneographic art with her iPad, Cindy Patrick. Cindy is a professional photographer based in Philadelphia, and she's really great at using multiple apps for post-processing her photos, turning them into what look like hand-painted works of fine art. She has a really distinctive style, and she's really good at making these breezy seaside tableaux. I think you'll really enjoy this, and these stunning techniques aren't as hard as you might think to execute, and you can do all of this on your iPhone or iPad. For this video, we asked Cindy to record her workflow, so you can see exactly how she does this. She uses a bunch of different apps to get to her final result, but you'll find that you can do most all of this in Pixlr Express, or use your own combination of apps. First things first, Cindy usually starts by brightening the highlights and shadows to lift the image a little bit. She often starts her images in an app called Iris, but you can do this in Pixlr Express with the autofix option. Basically, you're going to want to do some simple editing to make sure your initial photo is well balanced, just like you would any other photo. Cindy saves this version to her camera roll. Next, Cindy likes to crop out any borders, which she does in Pixlr Express. She does the main work of turning this photo into a painting with one of the stylized options. If you haven't tried these out, they're available in the iOS and Android versions of Pixlr Express, and they transform your photo into things like sketches or watercolors or lithographs. Cindy chooses the dapple option, which makes a painterly version of the photo. That is, if you look closely, you can see the brush strokes in the details. She then saves that to her camera roll. Cindy hops into an app called Superimpose, which blends images together. Her goal here is to add a little bit of realism back to her image by blending the realistic layer with the stylized layer. You could just skip this step and stick with the painterly image if you're happy with how that looks. If you don't have Superimpose, try the Add an Image option in Pixlr Express, which will let you layer on a second image and then dial back the opacity in a similar way. Cindy's a real pro at this, and she really knows what she's going for, so she goes and does a little extra detail work here. Once Cindy's done, she saves the image to her camera roll. Next, she opens up that saved image in Blur Effects, an app that is, you guessed it, totally focused on making things out of focus. I think the blurring Cindy does is really key to making these photos look like paintings. She really makes the primary elements, like the surfer, stand out from the rest of the photo by using this kind of blur effect in the background. You can see that Cindy blurs the entire photo and then removes the blur effect in particular spots by zooming in and doing some detail work with her fingers. It's worth noting that you can do something very similar in Pixlr Express with the history brush. The history brush is probably my favorite tool. I use it to create what I like to call illustrated portraits. I take a portrait of a person and then I layer on tons of heavy effects, but then I remove the effect after each layer I put on so that the end result is a really heavily illustrated, stylized, almost cartoon-like illustrated portrait. Cindy really tinkers with the blur effect in this app to fine-tune it the way she wants it before saving it to her camera roll. It's back to Pixlr Express to tackle some of the coloring. Cindy likes the vintage Borg effect. It provides a nice turquoise color that really fits with these beach scenes. Then she adds a canvas overlay. These overlays are perfectly suited for this kind of painterly work. She fittingly chooses the sand overlay to give it a little extra brush sand look. You can see that she uses the history brush here to remove the sand overlay she added and let the surfer figure shine through. Again, I can't overstate the usefulness of the history brush for adding rich layers of effects. Cindy then picks a border. She's going with one of the default borders called Grunge. There's actually a whole set of grunge borders in Pixlr Express. If you're worried that they'll make your photos look like they've been tortured or broken, don't worry. Some of them add rough details, but in a really subdued way. This default grunge border works great with her image, and it makes it look like an unframed canvas that wasn't taped up before the painter got to work. And I think that's a really great detail. Cindy once again saves to her camera roll and then adds one last painterly flourish that isn't in Pixlr Express that you can find in an app called Repix. It's a way to add drips and drops of paint. She splashes them around randomly. This gives it a, painterly credibility. Which isn't to say that this kind of work needs credibility. To us, making art with just a phone or a tablet is a kind of next level creativity that we really admire and can't get enough of. Huge thanks to Cindy Patrick for taking time out to show us how she makes her art. You can find the step-by-step written instructions for this work on the Pixlr blog, and we highly encourage you to go check out more of her work by visiting her at cindypatrick.com. Beautiful artwork, clear, unique style. It's kind of hard to believe came from just some iPhone apps. If you make iPhoneographic art like this, we want to hear about it. Please hit us up on Twitter at Pixlr and point us to it.